All right, so I'll be your facilitator, the training. Okay, I can see my colleague Ruben is also in. He was having challenge, so he is there. Ruben, can you wave us? Can we see you on? All right. Okay. Good, 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 good. All right. Good. So, let me share my screen. Okay, so I'm Isaac Ofuriasare, currently in the United States of America for a PhD program. I also double as a assistant lecturer at Accra Technical University and also a partner with VitaVet Consult. My research interest is basically on machine learning and biostatistics, obesity and lifestyle related research, and causal inferences in healthcare data, health data science, and predictive computational statistics, and so on. I currently have 13 research articles published in reputable journals. So that's something brief about me. So this is more of introducing you to basic concept that you would need for you to be able to undertake your research and data analysis, let's say, work or task. And the focus is more on the PhD students or those that are doing their PhDs, those doing their masters, undergraduates, that is both first degree, HND certificates, and all forms of researchers, all those doing various research in different levels. So, and or anyone who really or desires to, understand what research is all about, maybe to do in-depth analysis and so on. So just a brief kind of skills that we just want to give it out. And after this session, we will zoom into proper analytical skills that you really need to be able to do your study. So as the presentation is going on, if there's something that you really don't get, you can prompt us, can put your question in the chat, or you can just raise your hand and then you can put in your question, or you can also decide to wait after the the presentation, then you can maybe ask your question. Thank you very much. Okay, so the outline for the training or just for the training session is we just want you to know some basic knowledge in research. I know some of you have basic or you have even advanced skills when it comes to research and other stuff, but others too don't have. So we just want to look at basic knowledge in research, what data is all about, types of data, data analysis life cycle, managing data analysis process, your collection methods, and then your data analysis techniques. So these are the outline for today's presentation. Okay, so basic knowledge in research. We are talking about data analysis skills. What has research got to do data analysis? Research has a lot to do when it comes to data analysis. So by the end, you get to know that if you don't have knowledge in research, it will be difficult for you to even do some analysis. So why research in the first place? So we are saying that someone would like to go into research basically to, describe, explain, or predict some kind of situation or an event happening within a given area or setup or within an organization or whatever. So it's all about you trying to explore, to describe, and then you explain or predict what is happening within a certain geographical area or setup and so on. That is all about what research. So as you are trying to describe at the end of the day, you want to solve issue, you want to solve problems, you want to adapt to knowledge. These are some of the things that you would like to do, or it will motivate you to do what research, right? And so let's take note. You are exploring, you are describing, you are explaining, you are predicting, all to solve what issues. So we say that without issues or without any problem, there is no need for what research. So there should be an issue that you want to attend to. There should be something that at the end of the day you can add to. If there is maybe existing knowledge in a certain area, right? You can add up to that knowledge by doing something small, not necessarily doing something so big, but something small, just adding one or two things to what the previous researchers have done. At least you have done what research. So that is all about what research. We adding to knowledge to existing or coming out with something new. Okay, so then we say that why knowledge in research is crucial for data analysis. Why do you even need research knowledge to be able to do serious statistical analysis or data analysis? So we are saying that research knowledge provides the necessary foundation to ensure that data analysis is well structured. So without in-depth knowledge in research, if you're that type that you don't even know how to, for example, you don't even know how to even search for information online, right? How will you be able to know the kind of variables that you even need for your study? If you are that type, you don't know how to do literature review, how will you be able to know that, oh, this variable has something to do with this? It is only in literature that you get to know some of these analytical skills that you even need to be able to embark on your study. So it will help you to be able to have a well-structured what system, right? In terms of you formulating even your objectives and hypotheses. How do you formulate your research objectives? How do you formulate your hypothesis and so on? So it is very, very crucial for you to be able to have in-depth knowledge or have some kind of knowledge or basic knowledge in research to be able to embark on any serious data analysis for the task. So for you to also be able to get accurate, let's say, results, right? So you ensure correct statistical tests are chosen. How will you choose? How will you be able to choose a type of statistical technique if you have not done in-depth review to know that, oh, this technique is appropriate for this situation? Remember, when it comes to this, our data analysis tools or techniques, each one is for a specific task. You cannot use a particular tool to solve all issues. So every tool has its own means or approach that you can use. So if you don't do in-depth review to know that, oh, this technique is appropriate for this, if you don't do in-depth review to know that, oh, if I am using, let's say, regression should be used if I have this situation, if I have this, if I have that. You are going to use regression to go and solve, let's say, a t-test what issue, which at the end of the day, it might not be able to give you the correct what input. So these are some of the reasons why it is necessary for you to be able to have in-depth knowledge in research or basic knowledge in research, how to even look for information, how to even get the articles to be able to, get the kind of information that you need from and so on. It is very, very crucial. It is very, very crucial that you will need knowledge in research to be able to do or analysis. So it also helps us to draw meaningful conclusions that align with what our research. So if someone is able to do in-depth review to know that, okay, this technique is used for this. At the end of the day, when you are justifying your result or your findings, you realize that you have control over it. Some people are unable to even draw conclusion based on their own techniques that they have used, or because they have not done enough research on the usage of what the technique. So many research have been done using regression to do it. Why don't you invest time to look for such articles within your area and then get to know how results were presented and so on, so that you can also what follow suit. The most important thing is you would what follow what previous researchers have done. That is the most important thing, because you are not coming out or you are not coming with new way of presenting results. It has been done over and over and over. So you want to either adopt or adapt this mechanism to be able to improve upon your study. So why don't you get some of these articles, get them, and then at the end of the day, use them for your study? That is the most important, so that you can draw meaningful what conclusion from your result. So what if I don't have research knowledge or background? I don't know how to do all these kind of things. At the end of the day, you are going to just misinterpret your results. You are going to just, just say anything, which at the end of the day, it might not be able to withstand. Let's say if you are taking it for publication, you want to submit your results, or let's say your research work to a journal, a reputable journal, for them to publish it for you. They will tell you that you don't meet their standards. Follow to get the results what's out there, because they have a kind of audience that all the time they review, or maybe they go in for their article. So if you are just doing anything anyhow, it's as a result of you do not pay much attention to research to know what people have done. So it is very, very important. And because you don't have knowledge in research, right? At the end of the day, you are going to use inappropriate statistical techniques or tools for your data analysis. So as I said, instead of you using a t-test, you decided to go and use ANOVA. Or instead of you to use a t-test, you decided to use regression. These are all misappropriate usage of the statistical techniques, which at the end of the day, it will not help you. So you need skills in research. You need skills in research to be able to embark on some of these things. It is very, very important. Okay, so fail to account for biases and confounding what variable, because you don't have knowledge in research to know what variable relate with another variable, or what variable has nothing to do with other variable. You will just be confusing yourself. So this is what it results in, what is called biasness. You introduce biasness in your analysis, and so on. Most reviewers are not interested in some of these things. So it is very, very crucial for you to have in-depth knowledge in research. Okay, so we move on to the next level when it comes to the research aspect. Okay, so you want to do serious analysis when you don't really understand your research designs. You want to come out with a very good, let's say, story, so that people would appreciate. But your research design, or let's say the methodology aspect, is not what appropriate. I don't think it can withstand. So you need to have knowledge when it comes to your research design. So knowledge of experimental observation, cross-sectional design, they are all necessary for you to be able to have a correct analysis what technique, because each of the technique or each of the research design that you use goes with a kind of statistical technique. So if you are only observing things, you can't just go and use any quantitative statistical techniques for that analysis. You are only observing. So how will you perform correlation between this and that? You are just observing to see what is happening, what people are doing. You get it. So at the end of the day, here you are not using any kind of serious quantitative or statistical technique for your kind of task. So if you don't know that maybe observational study, this is the kind of technique that I need to, you will just end up using regression to do observational or study, which at the end of the day, it will not withstand time. It will just go and then they will just reject it. Or you send it to your professor or you send it to your supervisor. Your supervisor will tell you that you don't know what you are about. You don't know what you are about. So these are some of the things that you need. So you need to have knowledge when it comes to research design. And how do you get this knowledge? You get this knowledge as a result of what you doing, what in-depth review. You do in-depth review through research. So that at the end of the day, you don't choose a particular method and then go and choose a different statistical technique for that kind of what method that you used. Okay, now when it comes to
Hello.
your hello, hello.
Hello.
Yes, please, do you have question? Is someone asking a
So
question?
far, no, I don't know.
Okay,
For the
okay.
other.
All right, good. So another thing that
Hello.
you need to know. Please, do you have a question?
Hello. Yeah, please can you speak up? It seems your voice is a little bit down. I don't know if it's from your phone or your laptop.
Please, can the rest hear me clearly?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's audible.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
a bit. We can't
You
hear.
can't hear.
I can hear you.
No, that guy here should adjust your volume. Just adjust the volume. You can hear him. He's doing well. His volume is.
Okay. So from my side, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Okay. So let's move on. Please, so try and adjust your mic. Maybe increase the volume a bit. And I think you hear me. Thank you. All right. So when it comes to hypothesis formulation is very, very crucial because maybe you have made a claim that, oh, okay, motivation can influence performance. Okay, so if you have not done research, how will you know that motivation can influence what performance? You get it? So if you have it in mind that you want to do research in the area of, let's say, business, organization, relationship, and how it affects performance, you need in-depth knowledge in research. You need to have time, spend time. You need to have time to do some of these things. Spend time to review. Spend time to know how you can formulate your hypothesis, whether it is the null hypothesis or the alternative. The hypothesis, we have it in 2 dimensions. That is the null hypothesis and then the alternative. So the null hypothesis is the one that all the time takes the equality sign, which we say maybe there is no significant difference between motivation and then that of, let's say, performance.
Like it's not clear.
And
Then maybe check your connection. Audible.
please, can I go on? All right.
Go on.
Okay.
You can go on.
Okay. So the alternative says that if the now is saying there is no difference, the alternative says that there is difference between, let's say, the kind of variables that you are looking at. So in-depth knowledge in research can help you to be able to formulate, right? To be able to formulate this hypothesis clearly, right? Yeah, please, can you unmute? Can you mute yourself? Can you mute yourself? So that we don't distract the class. If you have a question, please, you can let us know. Okay. Then we have sampling methods, right? So what methodology in terms of your sampling are you using for your study? There are certain sampling techniques that you use. You will not be able to draw what is called generalization on your research findings. So you need to clearly know that this is the kind of design that I am using for my research work. This is the kind of method that I am using. So let's take note. There are certain methods that you cannot base on to make generalization about your findings, especially what we call the non-probability sampling techniques. You cannot make generalization because the approach and manner maybe you were able to get your data is, or let's say, yes, you collected the data, it is not all that representative. So you cannot make generalization. And if you don't know, and then at the end of the day, you use a non-parametric, let's say, sampling technique, or let's say a non-probability sampling technique for your study, and then at the end of the day, you base on maybe your data analysis findings, and you just make generalization that this is what Ghanaians, or this is what the people, the entire people within the country are saying. It is wrong, totally wrong. You cannot make such generalization. So please let us know. And all this, as I said earlier on, you can get it through literature. At what point should I use sampling method A, B, C, D, and so on? So as we want to move on in academics, or we want to do more impactful research to influence society and so on, these are some of the things that we need to do. So that at the end of the day, our findings will come out and nobody can challenge it. Sometimes people do research, and when you ask them what method did you use, then they begin to say a whole lot of things. They are unable to come out clearly, or because they do not do an in-depth review about some of the things that they themselves decided to do. So it is very, very important so that we don't experience what is called biasness in our data analysis. Okay, so variable type is another crucial thing that you need to know. So you want to do a study on the impact of, let's say, motivation on performance, right? What kind of, let's say, data is motivation? You need to ask yourself some of these things. You need to ask yourself and get or deduce from what literature maybe has told you, right? So motivation, what kind of variable is it? Is it a categorical variable? Is it ordinal variable? Is it a continuous variable? These are some of the things you need to ask yourself. You need to ask yourself, and you can only get this information through research. So please, let's take much time to invest in doing research. It can help us even in selecting the appropriate statistical technique. So if you know the data type, there are certain data types that do not support certain analysis. Let's take note of that. So if you want to run regression, you cannot just go and use just any categorical variable for that, right? There is a technique we call latent class analysis. You cannot also use just any continuous variable for that. It only limits you to categorical, maybe yes or no, or true or false, or success or failure, just two options. So if you don't know all these things, and you just end up, oh, I want to do this kind of analysis, then you just begin to apply the techniques on. The results, some of the techniques will tell you that I don't accept some or this kind of analysis, but some will not tell you anything. It will generate the results for you. And at the end of the day, you will send your research to your professor, you send your research to, let's say, the publication house, and it will be rejected. So these are some of the things that we need to know. It is very, very important to have knowledge in the data types. So spend time to know when we say categorical variable, when we say nominal variable, when we say ordinal variable, or when we say continuous variable, what are they? And their implication when it comes to data analysis and the statistical techniques. If you can invest time to look into some of these things, I believe strongly that you will select a type of data type with a corresponding statistical analysis. It is very, very important. So have knowledge in these areas. Now, because of the internet, you can easily, right? You can easily get some of these articles. All that you need is to spend time. Just spend time to review, go through, check their methodology, what did they say about it, and then at least you'll be able to get some of this knowledge. If you don't still get it, you can consult a statistician, you can consult someone who has knowledge when it comes to the application of statistical technique and so on, so that at the end you'll be able to make a meaningful impact. Okay, and another thing that you need to know is what is called research ethics. Yes, research ethics, it is very crucial. So if you have no knowledge about research, right, how will you do a very serious analysis without factoring ethics? Because before your result goes out, it has to pass through the ethics procedure, right? Is your results or the data that you are coming out, or the analysis that you have, is it infringing on someone's right, especially the participant or the respondent? Is it affecting them? Is it something that is so sensitive that it should not come out? If you don't pass it through all this, or if you do not declare all this kind of information, and then you just publish your results, you will be there, people will come after you. You will be there, institution will come after you. You will be there, even the whole country can even come after you. The government can even come after you, or individual can come after you, all because you do not follow ethics. When you were going for your data collection, did you ensure the people that this research is going to be used for this? And then after you are through with the analysis, right? And after you are through with the analysis, did you do what you told the participant, or you did otherwise? These are some of the things. So you realize that almost every research that has been published in a reputable journal or media house, it passes or it goes through this. You need to declare some of these things before they even accept it for publishing. But if you don't have knowledge when it comes to research, why the need of even ethics and so on, you will just be gathering people's information and then you throw it out there. And at the end of the day, you are going to have issues. At a point, they can even draw or withdraw. If they realize that you do not pass it through some of these things and people are beginning to complain, they will withdraw your publication from whatever media house, or let's say journal that was published in. So let's take a critical look at some of these things. You can only get this through you doing what? Enough review or in-depth research about your own area. Okay, so thank you very much. On the basis of research, please, any question before we move on to the next session? Any question with respect to basic knowledge in research? Any question, you are free to, bring your question if you have any question. Are we good?
Yes, please. We are
Okay.
good. We are good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Good. So we are moving to the next session. That is the data side. So what is data? All the time we've been talking about data, data. Those doing HND, they will talk about data. Those doing degree, also data, master's data, certificate data, PhD data, any researcher data. I'm going to collect data. What is all about this data, right? So we are just saying that data is all about factual what kind of information, okay? Factual kind of what information, right? That you are able to gather, right? You are able to gather for a purpose, right? So it is that kind of information, right, that you are able to gather for a specific what purpose, right? So use as a basis for reasoning, discussion, or for calculation, right? So if you are interested in student age, if you are interested in the mortality or maternal delivery at a particular, let's say, facility, all that I need to do is to go there and gather this information for a purpose, for a discussion, right? Or you want to take some kind of decision on certain things, you just go over there and gather your information. So that is all about what? So when you look at the definition that has been given, it's all about you getting this information for discussion, for calculation purposes, and so on, right? So let's take note of that. So that is about what? Data, right? So if you need information on, let's say, the economic what growth, right? You know where to get information on economic what growth. So you can go to the Bank of Ghana website, or you can visit Foreign Affairs. Ministry of Finance. They will be able to give you some of the statistics about the performance of the economy, whether it is growing or whether it's coming down. Or you can also go to statistical service, go there, ask them, okay, so what is the current GDP? What is the current this? What is that? They will give you all these statistics or all this factual information. Then you can use it for your discussion. But see, most of the times we don't understand data. We don't understand data, so we just end up throwing dust, or let's say just giving people information just like that, right? We are saying that you need this information for discussion purposes. So before you even go for that round table discussion, you should get your facts right. So if you are going to discuss about, let's say, the impact of this free senior high education or whatever on, let's say, Ghanaian economy, where is your facts? Where are your information that you are going to use for that discussion? But you see people with all these degrees or whatever having discussion, and at the end of the day, they are unable to give you fact that, okay, 2021, 2022, 23, 24, these are the statistics from this credible source. People just make statements without giving you any source. Are you getting? So these are very, very important. So it should be factual information that anyone, right, not just limited people, can have access to. It should be something that everybody can have access to, right? So let's take note of that. It is very, very important, very, very important to take note of what data is all about. So we are saying that information output by a censoring data or organ that includes both useful and irrelevant or redundant what information must be processed to be what meaningful. So there are certain forms of information that you only get through what is called devices. So like the camera that we have in our offices or in our homes and so on, it is also gathering data. It is gathering data, right? So at a point, if you need it, you know how to get it. You know how to get all the recordings and so on. You can get it and use it for that intended purpose. So if the data is not making sense to you, right? You should be able to have someone who has the know-how to be able to tell you that, oh, this information that you are seeing, it is this, it is that, and so on. So let's take note of that. If it doesn't make sense to you, you need to be able to process it. Get someone who can process it, or learn how to process imagery data. Learn how to process data if it is coming from the biological side and so on. Try as much as possible. Consult someone, and I believe strongly that you'll be able to get help. So that is all about what data. We are seeing that information in numerical form that can be digitally transmitted or processed, right, is about what data. So at least you know what data is all about, and you know, or you should know how to get your data and why it is necessary for you to be able to declare the source. It is very, very important to declare the source of your data. Do not just make any statement without telling us where you are getting the information from. You are a researcher or incoming researcher. If you begin to do some of these things without sourcing, people will not have belief in you. And over a short period, that your career path will die. It will die off. That is something that I should let you know. So many people, their career in terms of research is dead because they were unable to come out clearly with some of this. The moment people begin to lose interest in you when it comes to your facts, right, or when it comes to some of your information that you put out there, over time, they will not have confidence in you anymore. Whatever you come out with, they will see it, even if it is credible, they will think it is not what credible, because you are again come to deceive them. So please, wherever you are getting your data, even if it is a student data, you are gathering data, tell us where you are taking the data from. Oh, I am taking, or I took this data from University of Ghana Business School, right? I took this data for Mokola market or something, right? It is very, very important, so that if someone also want to do similar thing, the person can easily do that kind of study to what? Just either confirm what you have done or say that, no, what you've done, I can see something wrong with it. But if you don't tell the person the source, how you manage to get all this, how would the person be able to do what is called the replication of the same work to confirm? It is very, very important. Let's take note. Okay. Good. So now we know what data is. Now, what is data analysis? Now we know what data is. What is data analysis? What is data analysis? So we are saying that data analysis is all about the approach, that scientific approach that you use by applying all your statistical know-how, right, to be able to describe, to be able to analyze, and even evaluate the kind of data that you have to make what impact. That is about what statistical, or let's say data analysis. So we are saying that it is a process of systematically what applying statistical or logical techniques to describe, summarize, and evaluate your data. It is very, very important. It is not just a deterministic way. It is not, if I say deterministic, it is not just one way. It is systematic. It is a scientific approach. Or in other words, it is a stochastic process. It is not just a standalone that you say, oh, all the time it should be like this. No. Data analysis is not static. It is not static. It is not deterministic that you can all the time oh, anytime I want to perform this analysis, let me use this technique. No, because today your situation is like this. The next day, they've asked you to find out people's views on this. The mechanism will differ. You cannot use the same approach for that or this new kind of task. Let's take note of that. It is systematic approach. It is scientific approach. So it is not static. Take note of it. You can't all the time use regression for every kind of tax. If it is like that, then we are saying that it is all static. It doesn't change. It doesn't change, or it is deterministic. But you can't use regression all the time for all kind of situation, right? All right. So let's take note of that. So data analysis includes ways of working with information data to support the work, goals, and plans of your program, or let's say your agency. It is time we need to appreciate data analysis. It is time, as Africa, as Ghana, as a country, it is time, so that we don't just be making intuition, using intuition to be making decisions. Oh, I think we should do it like that. Let's stop, I think. It is time we stop, I think. It is time we base on the data says this is from this, and so on. It is very, very important. It is very, very important we stop, we think, stop using our intuition, but rather based on data to inform decision. So why the need for data analysis? One, you want to extract meaningful insight or get meaningful information. You want to test your hypothesis. The claim that you have formulated that motivation has impact on, let's say, job performance. You want to do that. So without data analysis, how will you be able to draw this conclusion? Right? Then you also want to support your decision and then validate research or finding. There are certain research that have been done elsewhere. There are so many of them that have been done in the advanced countries or the developed countries, right? The European countries, they've done it. And you also want to validate what they have done in your country or maybe in your, let's say, organization. It is through data analysis that can help you to do that. Data analysis and research that can help you to be able to do that, right? So these are some of the purposes that you should know when it comes to what or raising. Madam Erin, yes, you have a question. You can unmute yourself and then ask your question.
Okay. Please, I want to know, like, how do you know that, like, this particular topic I'm dealing with, I'm going to use this data analysis technique? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, yeah, that is a very difficult kind of determining what technique should I use for this kind of. But the only simple solution that I can give you is literature review. Do in-depth review in your own study area. For example, you want to look, let me still use my motivation on performance. If employees are motivated, will they perform? This is a kind of study that maybe you want to do, or maybe your boss has asked you to do, or maybe you are doing it as part of your requirement for graduation, or let's say for a degree or for a master's or whatever. You don't know the type of statistical technique to use. The only thing that you need to do is consult literature. Just go online, go to Google Scholar. If I say go online, I am not asking you to just go to the normal Google. That is not what I'm talking about. Don't just, if you want scholarly article, don't just go to Google and just be typing your information there. Go to places that you can get a reputable journal. I believe strongly that maybe your institution has a collaboration with some of these robust publication houses, right? So, for example, Google Scholar is open to all, whether your institution is affiliated or not. You can easily go to Google Scholar and then go and search for information on the impact of motivation on, let's say, performance. You can just go there. Or we have other platforms that maybe your institution has subscribed to. right? Elsevier is there. Sometimes I need to register with them, and if it is about health, there are so many health journals, reputable journals, or let's say publication media houses, that you can just go there, subscribe, or let's say register, sign up with them, and whatever kind of data that you need, or let's say article, you can download it, read it. Please read that article, go to their methodology session and get to know, okay, motivation and how it influenced performance. This article did it like this, and this is the technique that they use for the analysis. You can also adopt it, because sometimes you even need to justify the reason why you are using this particular technique for your analysis. And you can make reference that, oh, this study has been done by this, that he used, let's say, regression analysis to do it. So that is the reason why you are also using this thing for your study. And it is a solid justification for using the technique for your analysis. But if you don't do the reading to get to know who has done it, who has used it, it will be difficult to even know the type of technique to use for your study. Please, have I been able to answer you?
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Please, any other question? Any other question? Okay. If there's no question, I think we can move on. Okay, good. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, so please, I'd want to ask a question based on the purpose of data analysis, the very last point, the validate research finding.
Okay.
Please, I believe you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I want to ask a question that, for instance, you are on a research and you are gathering data, using, let's say, qualitative method of fetching the data. And then you made mention of people getting data from, let's say, a student, or let's say University of Ghana Business School. You
Please
would
go
have to state the exact place to which you fetched the data. So I wanted to ask, how will you validate this kind of data that you have collected? Is it that you use it in research, or there's an to which you can use?
Okay, so if I heard
Using
you,
validating the research,
okay,
the data.
so
Sorry.
okay, so if I heard you correctly, you want to know about the validation, or how to, I mean, like the validation aspect when it comes to research findings. Okay. Validity is crucial.
Yes, please. That is,
Okay.
if you have
Yeah.
got
Okay. I don't really. Okay, but validity is very, very crucial. It is very crucial. We have what is called reliability and validity of when it comes to research. And validity is one of the key things that you need to ensure in your research, whether what you went in for is really doing what you decided to do. So you went to University of Ghana, or maybe you went to Mokola, or you went to any place to gather information, right, on how, let's say, motivation can influence, let's say, performance, employees' performance. Is it really giving you the intended purpose? There is a mechanism of what doing all these kind of things. Validity, as you see, is a whole concept that maybe as we move on, I might in our subsequent, let's say, training that we will have, I will treat it reliability and validity. So you need to be able to validate that kind of information. Either you validate it yourself using that same information. Remember, some of this research have been done by other researchers, right? Is yours also confirming to what they have done? Do you have a different view on what they have done, right? All these are some kind of validation. Are you getting it? You just want to validate your results that you have had. So if someone did it in a certain way, right? I think recently I published one paper on gender, age, on statistical literacy. Okay, how age, gender can influence, let's say, your literacy when it comes to statistics and its application. I did it using about 5 universities, right? So when it comes to the validation over here, someone has done it somewhere, right? Is mine also confirming what the people or let's say such researchers have done? If it's able to do that, now I'm also validating what other researchers have done. I'm also validating my own research, okay? Whether it is meeting what I am supposed to. And there are indices, there are some values that you need to get for all these tests that I'm talking about. Okay, when it comes to the qualitative side, there are ways to also validate, to confirm, right? To confirm what maybe your result is saying. That is why people sometimes you hear they doing expert interviewing, expert. So you need to consult the expert to be able to validate what you gather from the information. So all this input together is one of the purposes for you doing data analysis. Other than that, how will you be able to confirm if you don't take a step of further analysis to even know what is happening? Please, have I been able to answer you, Simon? Are you okay? Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's move on. If there's no question, or is there any question? Simon, your hand is still up, or is an old hand, right? Okay, so let's move on. Okay, now let's look at the data analysis cycle, right? So we have what is called the data analysis life cycle. So these are the cycle that you need to go through when it comes to the data analysis process, right? So you can see from here, down there, right? We have the purpose. So what you do and the reason for that, or reasons why, okay, you are doing this. Okay. So one, there should be a purpose. If you don't have a purpose, I don't think you should even start any form of research. You don't have a purpose. So there's no need of research. There's no need of analysis. Yes, you don't have a purpose. So there's nothing like, oh, let me go and gather this data. Let me do it like this. Let me do it like that, and so on. You don't have any purpose. So there's no research. There's no analysis. There's nothing. So there should be a purpose. There should be a purpose. Okay. Now, after you have the purpose, you need to ask yourself, right? How am I going to do it? What do I do? Or what do I need to be able to answer this purpose? You have purpose in life. How do you achieve this purpose? You need to ask yourself. You want to be a great person. You want to be a great researcher, right? You want to be able to be seen, heard by everyone in your country or outside that you are a very good researcher. You really understand research and how it's applied. How do you go by that? You need to start asking yourself, okay, I want to become a researcher. Okay, then I need to take some courses. I need to learn this. I need to take this one seriously. I need to learn statistical analysis. I need to learn how to use softwares. I need to learn how to. Then you are beginning to what? Get responses to your purpose. But the moment you don't have any of this, you cannot even ask a question. You are only there, just waiting for people to give you feedback, or let's say people to just give you what information. But you yourself, you will not be able to do any of this. So when there is a purpose, you ask yourself what questions, how you are going to approach it. Now, after you have asked yourself few questions, the next important step is data. You need 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 data. So this small data collection in that small circle that you see, a lot of things goes into the data collection, of which we can't even use a day to teach all this. A whole lot of things. It's a whole thing on its own. So in simply put, you need to gather data. You need to just go and stand somewhere and gather your information. Get an institution, gather your information, meet people, and then or do street interviewing, meet some students, ask them questions, meet some workers and ask them questions, meet some lecturers and ask them questions, and so on. But it entails, right? It's a whole thing on its own. So after you've been able to gather the data, you need to what? Do the analysis. So you see, straight from data collection, I move to analysis, but it is not straight as you see. Okay, in between data collection and analysis, there are a whole lot of things that you need to do, right? Before you even begin to do the analysis, right? Good. Now, after you've been able to do your analysis, you need to interpret the results. Please, nobody understands what you have done. It is only you. The analysis that you have done, it is only you who understands. All the time, take it like that. Have that thing in mind that this analysis that I have done, it is only me who really understands it. No one understands it. So if you want somebody to be able to understand what you have done, it is very, very important to interpret your results that you have done. So maybe you did a computation and you had 24, you had 35, you had some significant values. What does it mean? If you give it to someone, the person will not appreciate it. So you need to add interpretation to it. That, oh, this results that I see here means this, that, so that the person that is reading your manuscript, the person reading your article, the person reading your paper would appreciate it. So all the time, take note that this results that I have, nobody understands. So I have to make people understand it. It is very, very crucial. It is very, very crucial. Now, if you realize that what your interpretation that you are doing, or the interpretation that you are doing is not conforming to what you are supposed to do, you can still go back. So you can see the arrow, it moves to the interpretation, also moves back to what? The data analysis. You can still go back and refine your analysis. Yes, you can still go back and refine your analysis. Sometimes you send your publication to a media house and the reviewers would comment that they suggest you do further analysis on. It means go back to your data, or your supervisor or your professor will tell you that go back and rerun the test, add this variable to the analysis. Okay, so meaning even if you have done interpretation, you can still go back. You can still go back to your analysis and even go and add or even remove certain variable from the model. Okay, so from the interpretation, the next thing is you need to do your reporting. You need to report it. Okay. Tell a story. It's a story that you are telling. Tell the story. Make it, open it up. Okay. So you can just discuss it in very lengthy level, anyhow you want to do that, right? So you are just write more, report it in, if it is in a statistical format, depends on how you want to do your reporting. Do you want to do it more statistical way? Do you want to do it in that more informal way? Maybe you are doing a research for your department that is not of, let's say, academic perspective, right? They want you to just present, or let's say they want you to report it in a certain way. Just go by that method and then give the results to them. After that, you can give the information out. So the users of for the information, give it to them. If it is your boss that needs it, after everything, you've done the writing, you've done the reporting, now send it. If you want to print it, hard copy, soft copy, you want to put it on your social media platform for everyone to read what you have discovered, whatever it is, just go out there and then disseminate what the information to them. That is all. And then you can still come back to the question. You can evaluate it. So what did we learn about our data analysis for procedure? You can still go back to your question. So it's like, it's a cycle. It doesn't end. You can even publish today, but over some years, you will see that, oh, there is a need to review this. You can still go back and still do it. So it's like, it's a cycle. You start from somewhere and then end somewhere, come back again. It's like attrition. You don't end at a point. You go over and over and over. So you think that you are what? Okay, right. Good. So this is about the data life cycle that you should know, right? Good. Please, any question? Any question? All right. So if there's question, please kindly, you can just raise your hand. We would attend to you. Good. Now, another important skill that you need is managing the data. Managing the data and then the data analysis procedure, or let's say process. Okay, it is very, very crucial. So one of the ways that can help you when you are about to do analysis, or let's say research in general, if I say research, then I'm just adding the data to it. So research and data, they move hand in hand. So one of the key things is what? Planning. Planning. Okay, so planning is very, very important part of the data analysis process. It is very, very important. If you don't plan very well in your data analysis procedure, or let's say process, or in the life cycle, you will not be able to achieve what you have decided of what getting. Just imagine someone doing higher degree research. The person did not plan as to what kind of data analysis technique that I need to use for the data analysis. The person writes the chapter 1, the person writes the chapter 2, the person writes the methodology and so on. Now, when it comes to the data analysis side, the person doesn't know the kind of techniques to use for the analysis. It means you do not do proper planning. If you have really planned, you will get to know the type of technique. So now that you do not even thought or think about the data analysis technique, how are you going to do the analysis? How will you do it? So after you have gathered the data, and let's assume that you are deciding of using, let's say, regression, but your data format is more of a categorical yes or no. How will you apply regression on just yes or no data? You cannot do it. So these are some of the things that you need to know. It's a skill, but if you don't know it and you just get up, oh, I can do data analysis, fine. It is a common thing that people say, but it is likely you have issue of a period. So these are some of the basic skills that you need. Planning in the data analysis process or stage is crucial. Plan. You should even start planning from the beginning. The moment you begin to have a purpose or objective, the planning comes in. It is very, very important. You cannot do away with planning when it comes to data analysis. You cannot. You cannot do away with it. Then we have what is called data management. So data comes from many places and variety of formats. It is important to take a systematic approach and think about the following question. How will you keep track of all the data? Some people, after they are done with their research work, right, they destroy their data. It is a very serious thing that you are doing to yourself. A time will come, somebody will go for your article, right? Will try to, raise issue, right, against you. You have destroyed your data. How will you be able to withstand that kind of, let's say, issue? How will you be able to do that? So how will you keep track of all the data? Never destroy your data. Never destroy your data. Have a place. So if whether it is a student research work or industry work or whatever, whether first degree, HND, master's or PhD, don't think, oh, I am done with my PhD. Yes, you are done. Your research work has been confirmed. You have graduated. Now you are a doctor or you are a professor. Wait till something happens to you. Wait. You will not see the importance of keeping your data. When people begin to now find out how you did your data analysis, how you did this, that is where you begin to know that it is important you kept that data that you use. Because if they are raising issue, where is your data for you to be able to withstand them? If you have destroyed it or you can't even find it. So have a place. You can keep it on pen drive, keep it on Google. Now there are so many storage places. Online is there. Just keep it somewhere. Don't keep it just on one place. Just spread it. Once you know that it is a very important what, let's say data or something that you need. So please let's take note of that. Do not just throw your data away. Destroy it. Oh, after school, I can't find my data. Oh, it's about 10 years. Wait till something happens. That is where you begin to know that you should have kept that data somewhere. So please, it's a skill that you need to. So how will you make the data available to several members of your research team or whoever requests for it? How will you make it accessible? Ask yourself, this data, should everyone have access to it? Or unless you request for it, you need to be able to have all this as part of the data management side. You need to. Is it free? Did you get your data free? So now if somebody is also asking for it, you can also give it free. If it is that, declare it somewhere that, oh, this is open source. Anyone who is interested in this data can just go online, Google this, and then you get it. It's also an option. So just know how you are going to make the data available to the members of your team or to your participants, or let's say to the users of the information that you are sharing. It is very, very important. How can you set up the system so that others can step in if your job responsibility will change? Maybe you are in the organization, right? You are in a team of researchers, right? Today you are doing this, the next day they will ask you to move to a different department and so on, right? Don't be a master of everything. So the moment you move from department A to department C, you go with the data. No. That is the attitude of us, Ghanaians. The moment the person is in this position and the person is even on leave, he goes with the key. Everything the person goes with it. But why? A very serious research institution, or let's say a firm or an organization, should not do some of these things. There should be a system in place. If you are not there, can someone have access to your information That should be it. But not that you will be on leave, but still will be calling you that where is the password for this? Where is this one for that? Where leave everything. There should be a system. We are talking about data management. So if you have the data on this pen drive, this desktop, which is in the office, there should be a policy, a login credential for everybody within to be able to have access to it. Don't travel and people will still be calling you. Where is the data? Where is this? Where is that? And so on. It is not a good practice. It is a skill that you need to acquire so that you will not become a master of everything. Just specialize in that area. If you're on leave, you're on leave. Just go and rest. It is very, very important. So take all these necessary steps so that at the end of the data management aspect or the data analysis process within the organization or that kind of team, the work that people are doing, to not lag behind. Because sometimes because you've gone with all this information, they need to be calling you here and there and so on, which is not a good thing. The writing. So it's also another skill under the managing of the data process. It says write your key findings and interpretation as you relate to your purpose. So as you are writing, it should be based on the purpose. Do not just be talking about different things. You have a purpose. The purpose is to find out this A, B, C, D, and how it influences. Why have you deviated? Why are you talking about a different thing altogether? Right? So please, if you have stated 4 objectives, if you have formulated 5 objectives or 5 purposes, please stick to that and just go straight and then talk about substance. Those are the things that the reviewers are looking for, especially those of us who want to put our ideas in top journals. You want to put your ideas in publications, like you want to write for people to also see that you have articles and so on and so forth, right? These are some of the things. Do not just write anything anyhow. Ensure that you relate your findings to your objectives and so on. And then the recommendation too as well, right? Okay, good. Please, any question? Good. So the next thing is on evaluation. So with the evaluation, you are evaluating the process of the data analysis, that whole thing, if it is in a team or if it is a consortium or whatever it is, right? Or even if it is you alone, right? The plans that you use, the plan that you use is also conforming to maybe what you did and so on, right? It is very, very important. It is very, very important to know some of these things. It is very, very important to know some of these basic things, which I believe strongly that it will also help you. So how well was the data stored? Ask yourself, right? After you have been able to publish your work, did the appropriate people have access to the data when needed and so on? So these are some questions that you need to ask. It's at the evaluation stage or after you have even published your work, after you have even graduated, just sit down and ask yourself. But these are some of the things we don't do. Oh, I have finished university. I have finished my first degree. Oh, I did my research. I've done it. I've finished with my master's. I've finished with my PhD. You don't even do evaluation. Right? If you do in-depth evaluation of what you did, I believe strongly that you can even get more papers from your own paper or let's say the manuscript that you submitted. But we don't do evaluation. I am done with school. I am done. I've submitted my project work. It has been approved. That ends it. That ends it. We don't do some of these things. So it is very, very important that you need to know. If you don't know it today, please, I am urging you to do evaluation, even after submitting your thesis, after submitting your research work to your professor, to your institution, to that publication house. Through that, you'll be able to get more, let's say, papers and even see how best you can improve on your next publication. I'm urging everyone to invest into publication. It will make you be seen. People will get to know who you are. what you are also capable of doing, right? If you have any idea, don't just keep it. Just let people also know that you are into something, and you can also put your ideas online. Good. All right. So the next thing is on the data types, right? If there's, before I move on, any question on the evaluation, any question? If there's a question, you can just raise your hand. If not, then I think we can move on. Okay, let's move on. Got data types. Okay, so when it comes to data analysis, there are data types that you need to know. We have what is called the quantitative data. They are just numerical data. Okay, so like age, your age, my age, the person's age, your income that you are earning, right? Earning 1,000 Ghana, 20,000 Ghana, 50,000, 60,000, and so on. Your height, right? Your weight, and so on. They are all numeric in nature. Okay. So under the quantitative, we have what is called the continuous, and then that of what the district, right? So with the continuous are something like your height, your weight, right? It is in decimals and so on, right? So all these forms the discrete data. That is how many, right? In terms of what numbers, right? You can't say the student population is 2,000.5, or who is that half, and so on. So these are some of the things that we are talking about, right? So if it is exact, then we are talking about what the discrete. Continuous, your income per income structure, you can earn 1,005.60 Ghana cedis, pesos or something. So that one, it is not exact. It is not. If you check on your payroll or something, you get to know that your income is not exact, right? It is not discrete. It is continuous, and so on. Good. Now we have what is called the qualitative data, which it's mostly string data. So something like gender, your gender, male, female. It is not number, unless you decide to code it to become what number. That is, male becomes 1, female become 2, and so on. Country, Ghana is not a number, right? It's a string or it's a character. Ghana, Nigeria, Togo, and so on. They are all what categorical, let's say, variable. They are not number. Then under the qualitative, we have what is called the nominal, right? So nominal has just category. Let's say yes or no, male or female, your color, black, white, and so on, right? And then we also have what is called the ordinal data, right? Ordinal data. So if you are ordering a certain kind of what item, so in your organization, maybe you have the boss, right? The boss is higher than the secretary, also higher than, let's say, the cashier, and so on, right? So once you have hierarchy in an organization, right, it is called order. So if you are gathering data in that area, then you should know that the data type that you are using is what? Ordering, right? Ordinal data. Or pain level, right? Pain level. So if the pain level is measured in a certain scale, right? If yours is 7.5, then it means your condition is more severe than someone's whose condition is around 2.5, and so on. If you take the military ranks, if you take the police ranks, and so on, sergeants, pretendants, corporal, and so on, it is what? Ordinal in nature, right? Accident level, right? Accident severity level. When accident happens, you hear the police saying, this is the severity we have, it is intensive, it is this, it is that, and so on. They are just trying to tell you the degree of what the accident, right? Oh, this one there, it is just a normal thing, right? Nobody hurt or something. So these are some of the things. And all these, there is a way of analyzing them. There are tools for analyzing each of these data types. There are tools for analysis of all this. So ordinal, there are ordinal data analysis techniques. There are nominal data analysis techniques. There are continuous data, if you have continuous data, there are tools for all such things. So it is very, very important to have skill in all this so that you don't use nominal technique for continuous data. It will not work. And even if it works, right, the reviewers will have issue with you. Your professor will have issue with you, right? It means you don't understand. You don't know when to use what. It is very, very important. And we have another type of data, which is called time series data. So these are data sets that are collected at what different time points on the same thing. So if your interest is to gather the rainfall pattern in Ghana, right, within 1 year or within a month. So the moment it rains, you record it. You are just recording just on what's the name? Rainfall. You don't add any other variable to it, right? So that is what about we say is what time series what data collected at different time what point. So within 1 month, you just dedicate that 1 month for it, and then you gather your information on that single variable, right? Now we have what is called cross-sectional. So cross-sectional data is also a type of data that we collect, right? So with this one, you just give yourself, let's say 1 day, right? That 1 day, you collect series of what variables, right? You collect data on series of what variables, right? You are not just focusing on rainfall. You are collecting it on so many things, right? So most of the time, the research that we do, they form cross-sectional rather than time series. So if you check research that people have been done using time series, you see some type of rainfall pattern, inflation, and this one and so on. So let's take note of some of this in the difference between the time series and the cross-sectional data. It is very, very important to look. Those of you doing higher degrees, masters and PhDs and so on, it is time you need to look into some of these data types for your analysis. Okay, so when it comes to the data collection methods, we have what is called the primary data. And then, so the primary data is that data that you just go out there yourself. So you decide to go to Mokola and then go and stand there and then gather data. Okay, someone has, okay, Sir Anthony, you have a question.
Hello,
Please go ahead.
hello, please. Hello.
Hello, please go ahead.
Okay, please. Can the time series data be named as longitudinal data?
Yes, you said, can time series be termed as longitudinal data?
Yes.
Okay, so longitudinal data is also another type of what data. Okay, it is another type of what data. It is not the same as for time. They are two different things altogether. Longitudinal data, you'll be collecting different variables at different times. Okay, over a period. So there are two different types of what data set. There are two different types. And the variables even involved in longitudinal is more than that of what the time series. So these are some of the things that you should know. So sometimes we see people doing longitudinal study on this, those in humanity, like those doing economics, those into economics. I don't know if first degree they do it, but you come out with this longitudinal studies whereby they will do what is called panel analysis and so on. So they are two different things altogether. As within, we are just praying that this year we will do a lot. In fact, we will do a lot of the trainings. We'll be taking them one after the other. Time series, we will take time series. We will take longitudinal, we will take cross-sectional study, and so on. We'll be doing a lot. That is our focus, the consult, our focus for this year. We do a lot of these techniques and how it's applied. So just watch. Once you see the adverts, kindly join, and then I believe strongly you will learn a lot of these techniques. Okay. So you have the primary data, primary data where you just go out there with your instrument, with your data collection tool, whether you are using a technique like a copy or let's say questionnaire, you just go there and be asking people questions and then gather your information, first-hand information, right? And then the secondary data, they are the data set that's it's already online or it's already published out there. And then you just go for it and then use it for your study. So for me, I would say that for ease of, let's say, your research work, there are certain research that it is difficult for you to get data. You will be visiting the institutions, they will not even be giving you access and so on. So with that one, if you can get same information online, why don't you just register with that institution or that organization or platform, download the data and then use it for your study, right? Don't start a study without having data. That is a very important advice that I can give you. Do not start your research work if you don't have a reliable source of data. If you know that you are not going to get the data, don't start, because you will start writing your introduction, your literature review, your methodology, and so on. The moment you get to the data analysis, where is the data to analyze? So ensure that you have data. Ensure that you have data that, oh, this place, I know if I go to GRA, I will get it. Even if possible, get the data first before you start. Get the data so that I don't waste time writing chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, or whatever it is. You do all those things, and when it comes to the data, you don't get it. Sometimes you need to rewrite the whole thing again because now the data has changed. And once it has changed, it has to change the entire research work, which is not a good thing. So go through databases, reports, journals, government records like Bank of Ghana website. If you want information on these economic indices, just go there. You get inflation, you get GDP, you get all those taxes and other stuff. Bank of Ghana has all this information. Go to Ministry of Health, they'll have information on certain conditions, COVID, they are there. Go to Statistical Service, they have information on all this living, standard of living and other stuff and so on. Get there, you will get some of this information over there. Or go to the police service department, they have information on accident severity and so on, road safety and so on. They have all these records that can help you to be able to do your risk. Don't waste time if you think you are not going to get the data. Okay, so after you've been able to gather your data, right? Now, another important thing that we need to do is data cleaning and preparation. In fact, this is, let me say, this is a very crucial area, even more than just applying the technique on the data, right? If you don't do proper cleaning, sometimes I spend about 60% of my time just doing data cleaning. 60% of my time doing data cleaning. Before even I start to do the analysis itself. Okay, that is why I was telling you that from data collection to data analysis, there is a gap. And that gap, data cleaning and preparation is part of it before the analysis itself comes in. Because the analysis is like, when you talk about the analysis, it's like you are applying the tools that you know on to, answer your objectives and so on. But it is very, very important to factor in data cleaning because this information that you are gathering, right? There will be a whole lot of, if it is a questionnaire, some people will not fill the questionnaire. Some people will not, they'll be giving you certain values. Maybe you ask someone's age. What is your age? The person put 2000 there. Mistakenly put 200 there or put 100 years there. And you know that the study target is on students. How can a student be 100 years? In Ghana, our university, first degree, 100 years. And you have about 100 occurring about 5 times in your records. This should tell you that there's something wrong somewhere. Or somebody wrote 200. Or somebody wrote 150 and so on. What is your height? The person wrote 3,000. What is 3,000 in terms of height? These are some of the things that you need to look for And it is very, very crucial, because the moment you forgo this and then such values are inside, they are going to create problem for you. They are going to inflate your resource. So if you are looking at the mean age will be around, let's say, 50. How can the average age of student be 50 years? The average age of a typical student in University of Ghana, say, is 50 years. It's not possible. It is not possible. So these are some of the things that you need to look out for. Data cleaning. So go through all the rows or columns, and if there is, ask yourself, how do you check, or how do you solve all this? We have what is called the imputation methods. Use them to be able to solve some of these things, right? We have the mean, we have the median, we have the mode, and so on, right? So please, these are skills, data cleaning skills. It is very, very important. So remove all outliers, values that they are not supposed to. 3,000. How can someone's age be 3,000? Remove that value from the data or from the records, right? And then if you realize that there are a lot of noise, or there are a lot of issue when it comes to inconsistency, the best thing that you need to do is to standardize your data. There are standardization data sets, variables that in the techniques that we have. You can just find the log of the data. It will make the data look normal, right? So if you are maybe looking at the impact of certain variables on Ghanaians, let's say, income, right? Maybe you are just considering how age can influence what income. Look at the weight of income. Look at the income values, right? People will be giving you 12,000, 20,000, 50,000. I earn 50,000. I earn 20,000. I earn 18,000. And look at age, right? So if you have some of these variables in your data, some of them are looking smaller, others are looking big, and so on. The best thing that you need to do is to standardize the data so that the data look fairly for your analysis. It is very, very important to take note of that. So data cleaning, where you need to do handling missing observation, removing outliers, and then data transformation are key when it comes to your data analysis. These are skills. And in fact, this is one of the skills that you need. Else, you are just going to make decisions that at the end of the day is not. Because if the average age is about, you are considering, let's say, people below 20 years, and your average age is around 35, what kind of story are you telling us? The study only consider people around 20 years, but your average age is 35 or is 25. How possible? How possible? So these are some of the skills that you need to. So please spend time. If you really want to improve upon your data analysis skills, right? Spend time when it comes to data cleaning. Good. Please, any question? Any question? Okay, then we are moving to the last session, last but one. Good. So you have cleaned your data. Now the data is ready. It is good. You want to do your analysis. There are certain things that you need to know when it comes to the analysis side. The tools that we have what is called the descriptive statistics tools. These are common. They are common to almost everyone. Once you have taken just a element of statistics or something in your first year in your university or your HND degree, masters or something, these are some of the things that all the time we talk about, right? Descriptive statistics, summary statistics, and so on, right? So the first thing that I need to do once you have don't be in a hurry. Running regression analysis. Yes, maybe a regression is what you are going to use to, establish the relationship, right? But don't be in a hurry. Just do some preliminary analysis on the variable. So find the average age, find the average income, find the median age, and so on. They will help. It can help you to even do your discussion. And some of us, or maybe Some people, they are not even after the regression. They are after, oh, what is the average age? If you check statistical service reports, if you have time, just go online and download one of their reports. You will get to know that it's about frequency, percentages, numbers, just how many people, 20%, 30%. That is the kind of story that they want to tell Ghanaians. So if we, the researchers, are interested to make informed decisions, what we need to do is we need to gather, go for their data set and apply those higher statistical techniques on the data. Okay, so statistical survey is not in for, or it's not after those statistical jargons, right? They are just after the descriptive frequencies and so on. So if you are a researcher and you are interested in that, please, you are interested in the let's say the higher one, then you need to gather the data and then apply such. So we have the mean, median, mode, run test on them, right? You can find the average, you can find the variance, standard deviation, and so on. Or better still, why don't you use visualization? Just use histogram, just use box plot, use bar charts, use scatter plot, and so on, right? So these are some of the things that you need. Not every presentation that you need to present that your statistical, those kind of jargons, right? And there's one professor who said that there is no single statistical tool that is as powerful as a word-choosing graph. If you are able to choose a graph to convey your information, there's no statistical technique that is as powerful as that graph, provided the people are able to relate to that kind of thing that you are talking about. So if you are presenting to non-statisticians or people who have no background when it comes to statistics, right? And then you use graph, they will appreciate it. If you go and use that your jargon, statistical test, regression, time series, correlation, and other, they will not understand. You will finish talking and nobody will have anything home, will not be able to get anything home, right? So a word-choosing graph is more powerful than any other statistical technique. Let's take note of that. Okay. So all these, the graph, the mean, they all form part of the descriptive for statistics. Okay, Sir Anthony, your hand is up. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Okay,
Hello.
sir, please. Can you report this? I'm talking about descriptive statistics under a table also.
Yes. Yes. So mostly the descriptive statistics, we present it in a tableau form, in a table. So you have a table that has column like the mean, the median, the mode, the standard deviation, the variance. So you have a table, a well-designed table, right? So if it is for academic, just know the format of your institution. Some of the institution, they will tell you to present your results in an APA format, right? So know how to present your table in an APA form, right? If it is a journal, you are writing to a publication house, right? A journal, right? Get their style of presenting, and also don't just put anything, any table in your work, right? Ensure that you have followed the criteria that you've been given. It is very, very important. It same applies to the graph. So know how to present your graph. Some of the graphs, we put the name below, right? The title of the graph will be below. Others too will tell you to put it on top, and so on. Just get the format of the institution, and I believe you will not have issue. Okay. All right. So the last thing we are looking at is the inferential statistics. This is the main job that every researcher should focus on. Okay. Because this is where all your decisions, your concrete decision could be done, or you are going to do it. Okay. The descriptives are good, but the descriptives are unable to go deeper into the data to tell you what is happening. Okay. So if you hear of statistical analysis, it is not about the descriptives. It is about this side, this inferential statistics, because this is where your decision making will be made and so on. Okay, so please, let's take note of it. And here, there are so many of them, we cannot even finish talking about them even within a month. There are so many. So the first thing that you need to do if you want to have or you want to use this inferential statistics is you need to have what is called the hypothesis formulated. So if it is about, let's say, a thesis that you are writing your master's thesis, you are writing your PhD thesis, know how to formulate your hypothesis. So sometimes you can formulate it in the chapter 1, others formulate it in the literature and so on. So there should be a hypothesis formulated, or if it's not about hypothesis, an objective clearly formulated so that you can apply your technique on, right? So you have your hypothesis or you have your objective clearly formulated, okay? And then after you have done that, you ask yourself, what technique, like ask somebody, ask, how will I know that I have to use t-test to do the analysis? I have to use this test to do that. I have already answered that one. It is through consulting literature that can help you to do in-depth kind of review to know I have to use this one for that. But at least I've given you some few of them, which, as I said, you will be doing a lot of some of this. You'll be taking them, some of them combined, or maybe one after the other. Okay, so one of the common inferential tests is the t-test. So the t-test, all that it does is to compare the means of two groups. The means of two groups. So if you have two groups, group A, group B, right? Or school A, school B, organization A, organization B. You want to compare their performance in terms of productivity. Okay, so if there's a variable called productivity, one variable called productivity in company A, company B, you want to compare it, just two. Please take note, it's for two companies, right? We have three types of the T. We have T for independent, we have T for dependent, and then we have the sample T itself, right? The T itself, right? Where it compares the sample by a parameter, right? So let's take note of that. Then we have what is called the ANOVA, right? So the ANOVA compare means of three or more groups. So you see the T is comparing two groups. The ANOVA is comparing two, right? It is very, very important. It is very, very important to use the ANOVA to compare the three groups rather than comparing the groups to, or let's say on that 2-2 level, right? When you do that, you create a lot of error in your computation. It is very, very important to know that. Good. Then we have what is called the chi-square test. The chi-square test. Some say chi-square. We know how you want to pronounce it. So chi-square test. So the test is used to establish relationship between categorical variables. It's appropriate for categorical variables. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you can't use it for nominal against categorical. So if I want to establish the relationship between, gender, male and female against educational level, it will be appropriate for me to use chi-square test because gender is categorical, educational level is also categorical. That is no school, or have you been to school? You say no, so no primary, secondary, tertiary, right? Against what? Gender, right? So that at the end of the day, we get to know how many females have been to university, how many females have their PhD, how many females have their masters, and so on. So the chi-square is appropriate for that. But as I said, it doesn't mean that you cannot use a nominal like gender against age, a raw age, but just that you will not appreciate the combination that the system will do. But if the age has been grouped into, let's say it has been grouped into 20 to 21, 20 to 25, 26 to 30 years against gender, you will appreciate it. But if it is raw, it will not be able, you will not appreciate it. Good. Now, you have regression, which is a very common household name. Almost everyone have idea about regression or have heard about it before. All that it does is to establish relationship between a certain dependent variable and independent variable. Or I'm saying here is dependent variable to independent variables. You can also have dependent to independent variables. So you have one dependent against one independent, or one dependent against several independent. Or you can have what is called several dependents on dependent, several dependent on independent, right? So it is not all the time that you have one dependent variable. A time will come, or there are certain times that you have several of the dependent, right, against independent, right? So they are all there. They are techniques that we use to establish what relationships, right? Then we have what is, okay, yes. Aren, please, your hand is up. You can go ahead.
Please, how do you differentiate between the dependent variables and independent variables? Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thank you for that. So we are saying that the independent variable influence the change in the dependent. Okay. So for example, let me use the motivation and then performance, right? So now you can see that motivation, if you are motivated, so that motivation becomes the independent variable. It is causing a change on the outcome variable, that is the dependent, right? So all the time, the independent influences what? The dependent variable to change. So if you are not motivated, all other things being equal, you will not work, you will not perform. So there will be a low productivity. So that productivity becomes the dependent. So productivity is now depending on a variable called motivation. You need to motivate me, right? At least encourage me. If I do something, just say thank you. If I do something, oh, you've done it well, but I think we should do it like this. That becomes what? Independent, influencing me to change. So if I'm going to work, give all my best to the organization, it depends on certain variables, right? Like motivation is part, training is part, even recruitment, the way people get into certain companies, right? It can influence performance in the organization, right? If you pass through some corner means and get into the system, right, it is likely you might not be able to perform because it's like you are still depending on some people for your performance. So anything small, you go and report to the boss. Somebody has done this thing to me. Oh, don't worry. Instead of the boss to tell you that, Master, do your work, but because you know somebody and almost all the time you can run to that person and so on, right? So there even recruitment, that recruitment process can influence performance in the organization, right? So that is about the dependent and then the independent. So take note that all the time, the independent variable will cause a change in the outcome of the dependent variable. The dependent is just waiting for something to happen. So, we are talking about performance. Okay. Do I have computer at the office? There's no computer. Do I have stationaries? Can I print? There's no printer. There's no A4 sheet. Sometimes there's printer. There's no A4 sheet. There's no desk for me at the office. Where do you want me to sit and perform? So at the end of the day, there will be low productivity. So all such variables are influencing productivity in the organization. Okay. Aaron, please, are you okay?
Yes, please. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Good. And then we have the advanced session. We have the advanced session, which is here. So with the advanced, the regression itself is one of the advanced technique, right? Which I've already talked about it. So for example, you are predicting house prices based on the size of the property, right? What will be the price of the house, right? The size or the price of the house is dependent on the size of the property. Okay, so if it is 3-bedroom, right? 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom, the price will depend on the size of the property, right? So the size could be the physical thing that we see, maybe is 3 apartments, you have a parking space, you have this, blah, 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 blah. Then they will tell you, oh, then based on this, you have to pay 1,000 Ghana cedis every day, so that if it's for rent or something, or if you want to buy it outright, this is the price that we are giving you, and so on. So the multiple regression, so that becomes one variable to the one independent to the dependent becomes the simple linear regression. And then the multiple linear regression is where you have several variables influencing the outcome. So predicting academic performance. So if I want to predict your academic excellence or performance, I have to study the number of hours that you invest in learning, your study, your attendance. Do you go for class, right? And even your grades, your previous grades can influence your performance, right? So if you realize that, oh, last semester I didn't get good results, that one alone can motivate you to learn for the coming semester. So if you are using series of the independent variable on the outcome variable, you are using multiple linear regression. Then we have time series regression, time series analysis. So analyzing trends and seasonality over time. So for example, forecasting monthly sales, right? Stock prices or energy consumption, right, over a period. These are all advanced techniques. Time series is an advanced technique that we use. So let's take note of that. Good. Then we have what is called the factor analysis. Factor analysis is also another higher dimension too, right? So we use it for reducing the dimensionality by identify underlying factors. So you have a lot of questions. You have asked people a lot of questions, right? Will you be able to group these questions into segments or into groups, right? So you use this technique for such kind of tasks. So in a survey measuring customer satisfaction, multiple questions can be grouped into factors like service quality and product quality and so on, right? So let's take note of that. Those of you into marketing and so on, this is your area. This is your area, and any serious marketer should have serious background when it comes to factor analysis and so on, right? That is, if you really want to take your career to a different level, you need to really understand some of this, because these are some of the techniques that you use. And then marketing research, those doing psychology and so on, you need these skills. They are very, very important. And those in education, right? If you're into education and so on, you need these skills. Factor analysis, you need them. You need these advanced skills. You need them. Okay. And then another type of advanced technique is what is called the machine learning and so on, right? You have the supervised and then the unsupervised learning for predictive modeling and so on. So these are all advanced techniques that you can use for your depending whether you know how to use them, right? But as I said, we would be taking them one after the other. Right? Then what is called the causal inferences, right? So techniques like the propensity score matching and instrumental variable, those into health, right? Those into health analysis. I think they use this one a lot, and I have a paper currently under review on how we can assess obesity within a certain geographical area, obesity related, and we use this causal inferences techniques, propensity matching, instrumental variables, and so on in the paper. It will come out shortly, and I'll be happy to share with you guys. Good. And then, so under the machine learning, I have grouped them for you. I'll share the slides for you so that you can just go through them. Good. And then we have, I've been able to group them, supervised learning, what it is, and then the common algorithm under each of them. Decision tree supports vector machines and so on. These are advanced ways of looking into your data, and they are skills. You cannot be a very good researcher in this modern times without knowing this kind of skills, without knowing some of these skills, unless you just want to use it for your research work, pass your exams, and then you forget about it. But if you want to get to a higher level, you cannot forgo some of these techniques, right? So these are all techniques. I have explained them well for you that you will need, can help you if you really want to take your studies to a different level. So this is where you'll be ending for our training on basic skills that you need to be able to make impact in your research path. Thank you very much for your time. If you have question, you can bring it on board. Okay, Madam Maureen, you can unmute yourself and then ask your question.
Sorry, I didn't raise up my hand. It's not me.
Oh, okay. It's an old hand. Okay. All right. Okay. Is it Alex? Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, please. I think you ended by saying that this is the end of the basic training. I was thinking that we are going to go into SPSS. It's a proper with data to see how we conduct the analysis.
Okay.
So I don't know whether it's going to be in series, and if so, when the next one will be brought on.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
So yes, thank you for that. So this is the preparation stage. Just to prepare your mind, the skill that you need. So once you know, then you'll be motivated to know, because now you've got to know why even the need to do literature review or to even go and look for information. So once all these skills, you have these skills, when we begin to talk about the analytical aspect or applying the technique on the data, you appreciate it, right? So it will come out short very soon. We are in the, I think, 16th of this month. So by the end of the month, we will take one of the technique, and then with a software, either we'll be using SPSS, as you mentioned, you'll be using R software, or you'll be using Python. The techniques are many. And when you were filling the form, we asked you of which of the software have you used. We will just base on that and then focus on a particular one, depending on the kind of analysis. There are some of the techniques that it is not easy to do the computation in, but others too are very easy, right? So just watch out. Just watch out for that. But yeah, just watch out for that and all the conditions attached to that one. Okay, thank you. Say, Alex, I think your hand is up. You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
It's the question that I raised, so that's okay.
Oh, okay, then please, you can lower your hand. Okay, And then do we have another person sign up?
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your presentation. Now, you didn't talk about correlational analysis.
Pardon?
You said something about progression.
Yes.
But out of the correlation analysis, we didn't hear that of.
Oh, okay. All right. So yes, I think correlation, I think it was part of the outline. As I said, the techniques are many. Okay. They are many, and we cannot talk about all of them, let's say here. There are so many. So correlation, for example, can be found in regression, right? So let me just explain. So correlation is all about you just establishing a relationship or association between what? Two continuous or variables, right? Or two variables in nature, right? So you need to know that there is a variable called A, there's a variable called B, and you want to establish their strength of their linear relationship or association. The point here is strength of linear relationship, right? So the strength could be within 1. So you have 0 to 1, right? So if the correlation value is approaching, let's say 1, then we say that there is what? High correlation. If it is close to 0, then we are talking about a weak what? Correlation, and so on. But please, the fact that we are saying that correlation close to 1 means there's a high correlation, most of the times it can create problem for you. It can create problem for you. What is called collinearity issue. It can create problem for you. If the variable correlates so highly in the model, it can also affect you. It can affect the results that you have. We are not expecting to have too much correlation or too high correlation, but at least there should be some kind of what? Association between the variable, not close to 1, right? At all times, it can affect you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Then, Sir Godfred, your hand is up. Sir Godfred, you can.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening.
Thank you for your insightful presentation. I want to ask, with the regression analysis, I hope you take one example and go into it in detail. Maybe not on this section, maybe on the other section.
Yes. I will do that because regression itself is, as I said, is one of the advanced. It has almost about we have about 7 or more different types of regression. 7 or more, not just the linear and then the multiple, right? We have the logistic, we have the pop-bits, we have the what's the name? We have, I've forgotten some. There are about more than 7 different. We have the multiple logistic, we have the linear logistic, and so on, right? So we will take our time. We will not rush into, putting all of them together. If it's about regression that we are taking, we will just focus on that. If it is multiple logistic, we will just focus on that to solve a problem, because every situation has its own way of solving it, especially if the dependent variable has a certain levels, right? We cannot all the time be using that too. So we need to be able to know that, oh, this situation, this is the approach that we need to use to solve that. So we will not rush or put all the techniques together at a session, but we will try to, ensure that we run them separately. If it is factor, we just focus on factor at a go, get it done. If it is on this, we do that, so that at least you have a better understanding. Thank you.
My final question.
Okay.
Do you help PhD students in their research work, PhD students in their research work?
Pardon?
I'm saying, do you help PhD students in their research work? Can you assist?
So can I assist?
Yeah, PhD students in their research work, work.
Oh yeah. We do that. The consult we do help PhD students. All levels, industries, we train institutions, we train a lot of people. So once you bring your situation, or let's say you bring we can advise you, in as much as we want to encourage you to do it by yourself, to be able to have control over it. If it becomes necessary that we need to start from somewhere, do the analysis and other stuff for you, we are there. We are there to do all those things. And we have also helped significant number of people and have graduated and so on. Now they are doctors and others, professors and so on. So we are there. Our focus is on research and how we can make meaning out of that. So thank you. So maybe later we can, if you want us to assist, you can just contact us. Yeah.
All right. We'll talk later then. Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. Please, any other question? Any other question? Any other question? Okay. Sir Isaac, your hand is up. Please, you can go ahead. Sir Isaac Dankwa, you can go ahead. You can unmute yourself and then ask your question.
Okay. Sorry. Good evening. Thank you very much for your in-depth training on data analysis. But well, when we got to, I think the complex tools, maybe how to gather the data, we came across this. That is the t-test involving 2, and the chi involving 2 categorical within the same situation. But I realized that the t-test, there are some complex computations there, and I don't know if it will be necessary, perhaps if we can go through that one, or maybe we just overlook that. That is the t-test, the ANOVA, 1-way ANOVA, 2-way ANOVA. In fact, I just had an oversight, and it's quite a very complex computation over there. I don't know.
Yeah. So yes, I understand that. But what when it comes to, is it the formula or the formulas? You should not worry so much when it comes to the mathematics behind it. The most important thing is to be able to understand. So if you want to use it for your research work, all that I need to do is maybe get a proper article or a journal, a proper article that has been able to explain the computation, I mean like the mathematics aspect, and then add it to your work. And if it is for presentation for your master's or something, or PhD, yes, they will like you to prove how the if it is about t-test, how it works and so on. So that is a different case. So just know when you need that thing, because if we begin to do the mathematics like the classroom t-test ANOVA, I don't think any of you would like to join the class or the training. So we don't want to bring that math aspect on the training side, right? But it's assumed that if you want the formula for t-test or how it is done, you can just get a book or an article that has been able to prove the t-test, the formula, and so on, which I said in most articles writing, you don't even need that thing there. You just need to let's know, okay, the t-test, when is it used? You have used it in the better context. That is the most important thing that the reviewers would like to know. Or let's say whoever is going to read your article, not necessarily putting down the formula, the ANOVA formula, the t-test formula, and so on. Yeah. I hope I've been able to answer.
Yeah. That is very clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you are welcome. Okay. Yeah. Any question? If there's no question, I would say that I am open to collaboration. And in terms of writing of manuscripts. Yeah. So currently, I'm working on obesity and obesity among a group of people. The paper is under review, which is likely to come out maybe the next month or two. And there's another one that I am also looking into. So if you want to advance in terms of your research, you want to write, want to get papers, because some of you would like to do your PhD, which I will encourage. I will encourage you, once you have your master's and you have the passion to impact society, I will encourage you to do your PhD. And some of the requirements, you need to get articles. Yes, so if you don't have article, it's like you are not being seen. So you need to be able to write. And I have access to so much data from all parts of the world that we can zoom into it and then get a paper done. Once you are doing your part, I'm doing my part. If you are even three on board, everyone is doing his own part, we can put all these ideas together, and then within the shortest possible time, we are able to get a paper published. So I am open. If you are interested in writing a manuscript for publication, you can just send message across. Or once there is a topic that you think there is data, my focus should be data. I don't want us to start something that we don't have data. If you have data and you want us to collaborate and write, let's look at it. But for us to start and then we get stuck somewhere, all because there is no data, I don't think I am in for that. So work that you want us to do for you, we are open to. We can help you do all the work for you and so on. Or if you are also an institution, you want us to come and train you, we are also open. You can put yourself together, we can train you on all forms of, let's say, analytical skills. Okay, I can see a hand up. Or Sir Anthony, yeah.
Sir, good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Please
Hello.
go ahead.
Hello.
Good
Hello.
evening, sir.
Good
Hello.
evening. Hello.
I think I'm interested in the research, the manuscript preparation that you were talking about. I completed my MPhil in epidemiology and biostatistics last
that's
year,
good.
and I need more knowledge when it comes to data analysis to beef up my skills.
Okay.
And then, secondly, I have my thesis with me that I want to publish, of which I will contact you from Monday onwards and see whether and how you can help me for me to publish my thesis. And I want you to add me to the team that will be helping in manuscript preparation. so that I can gain more knowledge.
All right. Okay. That's great. That's great. Good. Thank you for that. All right. And then is it Alexis, your hand is up.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I think once again, thank you for opening up and then granting us this wonderful opportunity. It is, in fact, for opportunities like this that some of us really made time to join the training to see whether we'll be able to leverage on it and then collaborative efforts to progress. So having said that, I completed my master's program. I did my research, and it was a cross-sectional study, mixed method. But at a point, I had challenges with those who were helping me to do the data analysis. I eventually had to tease out the qualitative aspects and then make up my write-up for my master's presentation in order to enable me to complete timely. I still have the data set, and if I don't know whether you were the one I contacted personally, I spoke about it, that I wanted to learn about regression analysis and all that.
Okay,
so if you give us this opportunity, I would want us to have a discussion, and then we'll see how we can collaborate to analyze this data and then do a publication, because that was my very intention. Even though the qualitative aspect, I'm going to publish it, I also want to still work on the mixed method and then publish it as well.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's great. So maybe we can talk later on it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Right. You are welcome. Okay. Any other question? Our time is 7:22. Hello.
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 Hello. Please, your contact will be needed on the platform.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So thank you very much for you being part of this wonderful training. I appreciate you all. Let's continue to learn, get more experience when it comes to research. Research is the order of the day. Let's continue to push so that we can also be seen by all. Thank you. So just watch out for the next training session on data analysis. Thank you and bye-bye. The recording too will be made available to you all. Thank you via email. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much.
All right.